It wasn't the cold that woke me, but the silence. The old grandfather clock in the hallway, a metronome to my life for 30 years, had stopped ticking. The house was plunged into a void of absolute quiet, the kind that presses against your eardrums. I lay in bed, straining to hear the usual nocturnal sounds, the creak of settling timber, the distant hum of the refrigerator. Nothing. I told myself it was a power cut, though the clock was mechanical. I fumbled for my phone on the nightstand. The screen was black, utterly dead, despite being plugged in. A knot of unease tightened in my stomach. That's when I heard it. A soft, wet sound from the corner of the room. A rhythmic, gentle squelch, like a sponge being carefully squeezed. I held my breath, my body rigid. The sound continued, methodical, unhurried. My eyes, now adjusted to the deep gloom, scanned the darkness. The corner was thick with shadows, but something was wrong with the geometry of them. The darkness there was deeper, more solid than it should have been. It had a shape, a hunched man-like form, but elongated, its head brushing the ceiling. "Who's there?" I whispered, my voice cracking. The squelching sound stopped. The shape in the corner didn't move, but I felt its attention shift onto me, a palpable weight. The air grew colder, carrying a faint, sweetish odor of damp earth and something metallic, like old blood. Then it spoke. Its voice was not a sound heard with the ear, but a resonance that formed directly inside my mind, a cascade of broken glass and whispers. "You built your life on my grave. You walked on my bones. You hung your pictures on my silence." Terror, pure and icy, locked my limbs. This wasn't a burglar. This was something far older, far worse. The house, my family's home for generations, was built on a patch of land with a forgotten history. I remembered my grandmother's stories, tales we dismissed as folklore, about the hushed man who was said to claim those who disturbed his rest. "I have been listening to the echoes of your life," the voice resonated again. "The laughter that shakes my soil, the tears that water it. I have grown tired of echoes." The shape began to move. It didn't walk. It unfolded, flowing from the corner in a series of jerky, unnatural motions. The squelching sound returned, louder now, as it oozed across the floorboards. I could see it more clearly, a figure composed of what looked like black clay and exposed roots, its face a smooth, featureless plane save for a dark, dripping hole where a mouth should be. I tried to scream, but the sound died in my throat, swallowed by the oppressive silence. I scrambled backward, pressing myself against the headboard, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. It stopped at the foot of my bed. The sweet, rotten smell was overwhelming. It leaned forward, its blank face hovering inches from mine. I felt a cold, static emptiness radiating from it, a void that promised absolute, final quiet. "It is time for the original sound," it whispered into my mind. A long, thin limb, more like a root than an arm, extended from its body. It wasn't reaching for my throat, but for my lips. The terror reached a crescendo. This thing wasn't here to kill me in a conventional way. It was here to silence me, to take my voice, my breath, my very capacity to make sound, and add it to its eternal, silent collection. The cold, damp tip of its limb touched my mouth, and the world stopped. The police found me the next day. The front door was ajar, and I had not shown up for work. They discovered me sitting upright in my bed, eyes wide open, staring at nothing. I was physically unharmed, but I was utterly, completely unresponsive. I did not react to light, sound, or touch. A medical marvel, a tragic mystery. They never found a cause. They didn't see the deep black handprints on the floorboards that only I could feel beneath my feet. They didn't understand why every clock in the house had stopped at the exact same time. They packed me into an ambulance and took me to a quiet room in a quiet hospital. I sit here now. I can see the doctors, hear their muffled voices as if from the other side of a thick glass wall. But I cannot move. I cannot speak. I cannot make a sound. I am a prisoner in a silent, frozen body. And in the deepest, most silent part of the night, when the hospital grows still, I feel it. A presence in the corner of my room, a hunched shadow waiting. And I hear, not with my ears, but in the core of my soul, a soft, wet, squelching sound. It is patient. It knows it has all the time in the world. And I know with a certainty that chills my silent blood that my silence is only a temporary thing. It will be back for the rest. It always comes back for the rest,